Hi everyone, this is CricketSong with Lunar Wisdom, and this video is going to be discussing tarot spreads, specifically a spread called My Priorities.
It is through YouTube and other social media channels that allows me to offer my support to other pagans such as yourself within our community. If you would like to be a part of that community, you can support me, CricketSong, and Lunar Wisdom by clicking the link to my Patreon page and read more about the benefits and rewards that you'll receive by pledging your support.
Okay, so let's take a look at how to lay out this particular spread, and then we can look to how we would interpret and what to look for when we're doing this type of spread. And then I'll show you, because I'm using the Rider-Waite right now, I will show you this spread with a different deck so we can see how it might change a little bit. Okay, so my priority spread, it's a 5-card spread. So moving from what I did last time, which was the Celtic Cross, this is giving us less cards to interpret. So if you feel overwhelmed when doing the Celtic Cross, maybe you want to look at this particular spread. And generally this spread is used when you want to look at what your priority might be, your main priority in your life right now. Maybe you feel kind of lost, and maybe you feel like you are looking to your career as being a priority, but things with your career seem to be falling apart no matter how much you are focused on it. So maybe in reality, in your reality, career isn't a priority, and you could do this particular spread to see what your main priority is and how to work through that. So the first card you would put down is your priority. So this is the main priority, what your energy is focused on at this moment. Then the next card, the second card that we place, you place in this position on top of what your priority is. And this, just like in the Celtic Cross, represents the obstacle or the challenge for you in regards to this priority. Now the third card that you place, you put it above, the position above your priority, and that is the things that can be changed for you. Now, before we get into that whole idea, I believe everything can be changed, but it's going to be dependent on your own momentum in regards to whatever it is that you're looking to change. So in this circumstance, in this, layout, that may be the things that you believe you can change. When we say things that can be changed, this is the card that represents the things that you personally believe can be changed, because, belief is half the battle. The next card, which is number 4, is the card here in the bottom, which, let me move the camera a little bit, which suggests that these are things that would or should be accepted, meaning that these are the things in regards to the priority that would benefit you if you accept them instead of trying to resist it or trying to fight it. And then the very last card is how things will progress in regards to your priority. So this is the entire spread. Card number 1, your main priority, what it actually is, not what you believe it to be, what you are working as. This is what is truly aligned with your energetic vibrational frequency at this time in your life. So like I said, you may think it's one thing, but when you sit down and do this spread for yourself, you may find out that, oh man, I thought it was career, but look at this card. It doesn't represent career for me. So let's look at that. So I'm using the Rider-Waite here. So I would look at this, the Two of Cups, and say, well, you know, it's not a card I would personally see to represent career, when in fact, this to me represents relationships. So actually, you may think your priority is your career, but when we do the spread for yourself or for someone else, this card represents your relationship. Your relationship is a priority, not your career. So then this, like I said, is the challenge or the obstacle. So if in this person's situation, their relationship is the priority, but the obstacle is represented by the devil, I generally look at the devil as physical or things that we are physically drawn to that may not be beneficial for our overall well-being. Sometimes it can represent addictions, like, you know, smoking or drugs or alcohol. It represents things that we feel as if we're a slave to, in that sense. We're held bonded by, or we feel we are a victim of, or we feel overwhelmed by. You know, we're chained to this thing, temptation. The devil can represent temptation. So for this person, I mean, obviously there is some obstacle in regards to that when we're looking at, you know, the overall priority of a relationship. So then we would look to, you know, the things that can be changed in regards to the relationship. And, you know, if I look at this card, it talks to me about, you know, hard work and effort, practical, in a practical sense, the things that I might be doing in the relationship or doing to support the relationship or to support my partner in the relationship. And this card, like I said, represents things that should be or would benefit me to accept. What I would look at, and then the how things will progress. Now, when I'm looking at this, again, for me, the image is the most important thing in the card when I'm reading intuitively the card. So, I mean, looking at the physical, the people, if there are people in the cards. So there are people in the first card, card number 1. There's people in card number 2. There are 2 people in card number 1, 2 people in card number 2, and 2 people in card number 5, which is the main body of this reading, because you could actually do this as a 3-card spread if you wanted to. I mean, you could just focus on what the priority is, what the challenge is, and what the outcome or how things will progress. You know, you could just do it with these 3, and actually these 3 cards both have 2 people in it. So it sort of gives you an idea of the state of the relationship, and then the things that could be changed and that can't be changed, and the things that, no, I'm sorry, I was right. The things that could be changed and the things that can't be changed, or the things that, you know, how I look at it is as above, so below. The things that could be changed will be, you know, sort of could be manifested in reality, or I would benefit from just accepting these things as they are. So I'm not putting a lot of effort into it. But these 2, what I was trying to get at is these 2 only have 1 individual in it. So this is telling me that even though the focus is the relationship or the 2 people, me and my partner, when we're looking to my input into the relationship, it is solely on me. This would represent my energy, and this would represent my energy, because I can't make someone do anything that they're not willing to do. And when I'm looking at changing or creating a new reality for me, it's really my energy that I can, honestly, I have 100% control of. Now, yes, you can use magic to influence other people, but I find that magic or changes that I create for myself are the ones that are more successful or easier to attain, because I'm only manipulating my own will. I'm not trying to influence or manipulate someone else's will. Even though when you're in a relationship, you're in this sort of give and take, this exchange, it's easier to change things in ourselves than it is in others. So when I'm looking at this particular spread, I'm looking at individual, but then the two, the relationship here. So then I look at how the figures, the human figures in the cards relate to each other. I mean, the first card, I'm just going to move this one aside. The first card, the two figures are reversed. In the outcome, or in how things will progress, the two people are reversed. And this card sort of is pointing to the people in that card. So, I mean, we have the two people standing on their heads, then it's pointing to the two people here where they don't look like they're standing on their heads. They actually look like they're head up, but this card is reversed, so the people, would be head down. But the fact that they are, sort of standing upright, although the tower itself is upside down, might give you some sort of insight as to how it may progress, even though the tower card is generally, I feel, one of a very negative card. It's a card that talks about destruction. But perhaps because it's reversed, it may be maybe not necessarily the destruction of the relationship, but the destruction of, the way the relationship is being perceived, or destruction in the way that it's built. Maybe the relationship, the bond between the two individuals won't change, but how they relate to each other may change. Do you know what I mean? Because of the way. And I'm not looking at, if I memorize the tarot card with a keyword that means, for example, destruction, and then I say that any card that is reversed would be the reverse of destruction, which would be birth. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm using that as the meaning of the card, but instead I may get to that same keyword, but I'm looking at the people, the figures in the card, and how they relate to the first card, the figures in the first card and the second card. Because maybe this is the destruction of the relationship, but the birth of a new way. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. And then I would look at the individual here and the individual here and how they relate to each other. Like, he's almost looking down, but he is focused on what he's doing. I'll always look at the number of suits, the number of wands, the number of pentacles, the number of cups in each one, and then the number of major arcana cards, no matter what spread I do. So considering that there's only 5 cards here, there's one of each suit except swords. There is no swords, but there are 2 major arcana cards. And I would look at the 2 major arcana cards saying that the obstacle and I keep calling this the outcome card, but it's how things will progress card. These are the key points in regards to this spread. So in regards to my priorities, the challenge and how things will progress are the key points of it, are the major sort of vibrational frequencies that I may want to focus on, because they may carry through to other things in my life. So I would look at that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull cards from the deck I'm using at this time when I'm doing readings, which is the Greenwich Tarot, and see how it sort of corresponds here. Okay, so I've pulled out my cards for the Greenwich Tarot that are underneath the other ones. So we're going to do this like in a reveal way. So the 2 of Cups is very similar. Is very similar in its imagery. The thing is, the female and male individuals are reversed. There is really no angel at the top of the card, but there's a goose here at the bottom. but their arms are entwined here as opposed to here, which could really change the meaning depending on what you're looking at with the cup, where she is drinking from her own cup and he is, well, they're still drinking from their own cup. Maybe it wouldn't change it too much. It could, but overall, there's still two images, two people still in this card. Let's look at this next card where there were two people, and I was talking about the relationship between two people, and two people. This is where things are going to change because, and actually, let me put these side by side here. Different here, very different. There is only one image, one human being, one image of a human in the nature card, which represents the devil in the Rider-Waite. So it's just nature. So the way that you would interpret that may be different, and you can't really relate two people, because it's just one person in this image, one person in this card. There are fairies in the background. I don't know if you can see that, and there is a bear next to him. So there is sort of the feeling of two beings, but the devil was in this card, but there's not two people. So your reading with this deck for this spread may be very different. Let's look at the third card. Very similar, still one image, one human, still working and still focused on what he's doing. So that doesn't change very much. The bottom card here, again, still one person. He's looking off, he's looking off. There is a fairy in this image here, so that could change the way that you look at it. He is standing here like almost guarding the wands, where he is just looking over the wands, and there's a house in the background. He has other instruments on the table with him. You may read this a little differently, but in regards to the people, it's still one and one. Now this is where things are also going to change. I'm going to move these on the side so that you can sort of get a parallel to compare. And I'm going to move these so that they're still in the frame, but they're off to the side. So this, we had a card, again, with the whole idea, oh, I'm sorry about the glare there, but that's one person. I sort of want to focus on the people here because it changes. There is a totally different scene here. This is the wild hunt. So if you know the mythology surrounding the wild hunt, you could still get to the same key word, but there's not people falling from a tower. In fact, you see the wild hunt in the sky. So there's, you know, the horned god here, and then a whole bunch of sort of people coming to fight him. There's a rooster, I think, falling from the tower, but there's no specific people falling from the tower. So you don't have the images carrying through with this deck as you did in the Rider-Waite. Two people, one human, no humans here. So you would have, I mean, that gives me a different read, very much so. If I was doing this spread with the Greenwich Tarot, which I am using right now, so I might not be able to focus on the development of the relationship in the same way. I would still notice the two major arcana and still one of the others. I would notice that the swords are still not represented here. But again, like a very different read. So that's my priority spread. If you end up using this spread for anything, please share with me. I'd love to see like a video response of you pulling cards for yourself and then sort of reading it for yourself. And if you do that on a video, please send me the link. If you decide not to, and maybe you want to blog about it on your blog, or maybe you want to take a picture and write about it on your Facebook, again, find me on Facebook and send me a link to it in a message, and I'll go look at it. Because this is interesting to me. I'd love to see your interpretations of the spreads that I'm sharing with you. And as always, I love you.
If you enjoyed this video, please share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any other social media platform. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This way you won't miss any of my newly uploaded videos. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook through my CricketSong fan page or my Lunar Wisdom business page. And you can always find me on my website at www.lunarwisdom.net.